all-stars. So there was a connection there, obviously. And right from the get-go, you know, we hit it off, and the timing and the comedy and the shtick and the stuff, you know. So anyway, are the girls here? Are they not okay? Anyway, it's wonderful for all of you to be supporting this, and what can I say? You know, supporting the Monkees and me and David and everything for so many years. Some of you for you don't even want to know, and so many new fans, so many second and third generation. No accounting for taste.
Hi, Mickey. I think all of us fans, I mean, I got the story from Davey, but we all like to get your side of the story, why Mike doesn't want to join the band.
Well, he just did. Again. Yeah, the simple answer is Mike just did not, and he's still a little hesitant at times about performing live, you know. He's performed more in the last year, and he's going out on a spring tour, by the way, and I urge you and suggest that you, if you get a chance, please go see him. I saw him do a solo bit with the Watkins family in Los Angeles, and just wonderful, you know. His voice is great, his playing is great, his songs, of course, are great. So if you get a chance, please go and catch Mike in his solo spring show. But, you know, this last show we did, this last tour, 12 dates. That's more than he's performed in 30 years. I mean, he just never went out with anybody, and he was always he's got his ticket. You've got a ticket for Nesmith. Oh, thanks. He just never performed at all with anybody. And he had the first national band, you know, just after the Monkees, and then basically that was it. So in '86 he was invited. He didn't want to do it. He came to the Greek and he did a couple of shows. And then in '97 we did a tour of the UK. We did a bunch of dates there for the album Justice. So it's not true that Mike, you know, didn't want to join the band. It's that he has his own path, and always has, and all of us have to some degree. You know, I remember one year I couldn't go out on tour with the Monkees. I can't remember what year it was, but because I was in England doing, I think I was in, no, what was it? Maybe I was doing Aida, or I can't remember exactly, but we were supposed to tour, and I couldn't because I wasn't available. And the same with David and Peter, you know, sometimes you're available and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But in Mike's case, no, he just, basically, he must have been asked over the years many, many times to go out as a solo, and he certainly was always welcome in our show, but, you know, he just chose not to. And this last tour was, you know, thanks to many of you, was very, very successful, and a wonderful show, great tribute and homage to David during the show, and who knows, we may be coming to your town.
Wait, I need to follow up, because, you know, I'm not ashamed to ask questions. In people's minds, Mike didn't tour before, maybe because of Davey. Is there any truth to that? That Mike didn't go on the tours before because of Davey?
No, absolutely not. No, Mike, you know, he would have toured solo if he wanted a tour. He would have started a new group. He would have gone out and done all kinds of stuff. He just wasn't into it. He told me at that show with the Watkins family, you know, he said, I think I may go out and sing. I think people like my songs. And I'm like, no shit. You know, so I can put that rumor to rest. You know, if he would have been, if he'd have been out for the last 30 years with other bands and other groups and other shows and other touring, and he didn't want to go out with Peter and David and I, then, you know, it might be a different story. But he hasn't been out at all. You know, it's like we got Howard Hughes out of the apartment.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Nesmith. No, just, you're not going to fall for that twice, right? Sorry. Fred Velez.
Hi, Mickey. I was wondering when and where you were when you heard for the first time any of the Monkees singles, what it felt like when you heard yourself on the radio for the first time.
Oh, I do remember, and ironically, or not, it was with Davey. We had we were on our way home from filming, and we had rented, the two of us had rented, because we could afford to move out of my mother's house, we rented this place in Beverly Hills, up in the hills of near Beverly Hills, and with John London, actually, Mike's friend from Texas, and the three of us and John's raccoon, we rented this little house, and we were driving home from filming that day. I guess 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the evening or something like that. And we knew that the record had been released, and KHJ, the big station in LA at the time, had been talking about the Monkee record premiering, you know, the Monkees' new single coming on at whatever, today. And just as we pulled into the driveway, Clarksville started, with the big announcement about the Monkees in Clarksville. And I remember very clearly, we looked at each other like, yeah! Yeah, I do remember, it was the first time.
Fred, hold on, please. So that was a great memory. We know where you were the first time you heard the Monkees record on. Where were you when you heard about Davey passing? Oh.
Yeah, of course. I was in New York, and I was in New York rehearsing for a workshop for a new musical, as a matter of fact, that they were trying to sell. And it was my wife. She called me and said, "You're not going to believe it." And I didn't believe it. And then, of course, I turned on the news, and it's true. And I don't remember a whole lot about that week. You know, I had to do this workshop, but also it was a whirlwind of shows, you know. And I thought it was probably, I thought at first it was a hoax, and you know, that happens. And but then obviously it wasn't. And then all of a sudden I'm doing Piers Morgan, and I'm doing this and that and all these shows, and it was just a sort of a haze, you know, just a dull haze. Like I say, even to this day, I'm like, really? Yeah. Take care of yourself.
I think some gals over here want to come up and say hello. We never overdo it. We never overdo it. Let's bring the ladies up one more time. I wrote something in the program book that I always envisioned you and David being 80 or 90 years old and coming out on the stage and singing You and I together to each other. Because I always saw that as a love story, not to a girl, but to each other. And we always thought the children and the grandchildren would be playing with you on stage. And that was always, you know, my vision. And, well, just wanted to share that.
Are we going to have more questions, or are we? No, it's up to you guys. What do you guys want to? Have you? Well, yeah, why don't we have, let's have the girls answer some questions here.
Okay. Okay. The Monkees were my inspiration into getting into music myself. I'm actually a musician. So, with that said, all of you, I would love to know who your biggest musical influences are, because I'm guessing everybody up there loves music. So, who's everybody's biggest influence?
Wow, that is a good question. I don't think I could, I think it's hard for me to choose just one. But I'll tell you what I'm listening to a lot at the moment, and that's Bob Marley. And I think I watched a fantastic documentary. I don't know whether any of you have seen it, about his life and career. And since I watched that, it really stuck with me, and I just can't listen to enough of his songs at the moment. So that's what I'm listening to at the moment. And obviously, the Monkees, and the incredible, really just the incredible songwriters, and just, I don't know, there's just such a magic. I think I've always found it hard to find anything that compares to their music for me.
Well, I know this might seem a bit obvious, but I'm completely inspired by Annabelle's music. And I listen to it all the time. I guess for me, growing up, I loved the Kinks. And touring with you guys was a huge inspiration for me to get into music myself, obviously. The band, you know, Aviva and Jimmy and Lofi and Jerry are huge inspirations to me in my career. And that's me. What are you?
Well, I too am a big fan of Bluebell, and my kids are right. Well, even more so, Bluebell. That's her band. And my kids in the car every day, no joke. Let's listen to Auntie Annie. Let's listen to Auntie Annie. And I'm like, okay. One more time. So we listen to Auntie Annie quite a bit, but we also do Friday night dance party at our house. And we put on the Sonos, and we just kind of have a kind of running list of music. But I love Adele, big fan of Adele, and you know, I really kind of have a really big, diverse group of music that we listen to, because I have the kids, so we listen to a lot of fun things.
Great, I do want to say also, you know, it's great seeing you guys again too. You know, you can judge a man by the quality of his children. We see so many stories, we hear so many stories in the news. The ones that make the TMZ crap, you know, the National Enquirer crap about the children of celebrities and all the ones that don't make it, that are screwed up and terrible, tragic lives. You can tell the quality of a man by his children. I think that does it. I think that does it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can stand up. The Davy Jones' daughters and the one and only Mickey Dolenz.